It is now 6:30 and the meeting for the Lawrence School District 55 School Board is called to order. Ms. McNor is standing in for Ms. Branham today, so I thank her for that. Ms. McNor, was the media notified?
Yes, they were.
Thank you. I declare there is a quorum with all seven members present. And is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Ms. Elders and a second by Mr. Hughes. Are there any discussions? Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Thank you all for coming out and joining us today as we start our board meeting tonight. I would now like to welcome Waterloo Elementary and their two students for Amelia Story and Charlotte Johnston to now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, ladies. Thank you so much. We'll now ask Ms. Nance to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come this evening, Lord God, giving you praise and honor. And we say thank you, God. Father God, I pray for blessings on our district. Lord God, we ask that you give us knowledge and wisdom, God. And Father God, please be present in our meeting this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ms. Nance. It is now time that we'll need action of the board to approve the minutes from the November 25th work session and the monthly meeting. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the last board meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Jenkins and a second by Ms. Elders. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes for the work session and the monthly meeting for November 25, 2024, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, that is unanimous. Any opposed? The motion carries 7-0. All right, we'll now move into our board chair election. In accordance with board policy BD, organization of the board, trustees will now elect officers for a term of 2 years. The officers to be elected are board chair, board vice chair, and board secretary. I'll moderate the election of the board chair, and after the chair is elected, that person will conduct the remaining elections and items on the agenda. The floor is now open for board chair.
I'll make a motion for Miss Kathy Little.
I'll second.
Okay, we don't need seconds for that. We'll just need open nominations, but thank you for that. Any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I would like to take a vote on all those in favor of Ms. Little. Signify by raising your hand for vote of chair. Okay. That's 5 yeses, 2 abstained. All right, congratulations.
I said no.
And also by no, a vote of no. So. No, okay. All right. And since there's no other candidates, Ms. Little, you're now chair, and I'll relinquish the floor.
Thank you, Dr. Penland. Now we'll move to vote for a vice chair. So the floor is open for nominations for vice chair.
I would like to nominate Tabitha Kitt for vice chair.
Any other nominations? All right, we'll close the nominations and call for a vote for the candidate, Ms. Tabitha Kitt, to be named as vice chair. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Thank you. Ms. Kitt, you are our vice chair. Now we will take a nominations for our board secretary.
I'd like to nominate Peggy Nance for secretary.
I decline.
Okay. Are there any additional nominations for secretary?
I'll make a nomination for Chip Jenkins.
All right, Mr. Chip Jenkins, any additional nominations for secretary? With no additional nominations, all those in favor of Mr. Chip Jenkins being our board secretary, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Mr. Jenkins is now our secretary. Okay, now we will move forward, and we have our Waterloo Elementary report with Miss Emily Parks.
Thank you to the board and Dr. Penland for this opportunity to share a little bit about what has been going on at Waterloo Elementary this semester.
I think he's gonna check your mic, just a second.
Again, thank you to the board, to Dr. Penland for this opportunity to give a brief synopsis of what has been going on at Waterloo Elementary this year so far. We are working in alignment with the district's vision of building a 5-star culture of excellence at Waterloo Elementary. I would like to share with you how we're doing that by walking you through a couple of goals of our school plan. This school plan is based off of last year's school report card information with input from our leadership team, our faculty, and our school improvement council. The first goal you see up there has a focus of reading on our SC Ready test that will be coming up this May. Our goal is to increase the number of students scoring meets and exceeds by 5%, which would move us from 60% scoring meets and exceeds to 65% in May 2025. And likewise, our second goal centers around math, again, increasing the number of students scoring meets and succeeds by 5%, which will move us from 57% to 62% of students meeting and exceeding on SC Ready. Next are the action steps that we are working through to meet our goals. First of all, we are implementing the 5 steps of effective learning. This is part of our partnership with NIET. Our district had several professional learning opportunities last year, and we are continuing this framework in all of our classrooms. Secondly, we have our weekly cluster meetings, again, part of our LEARNS grant and our partnership with NIET. These meetings are focused on teacher and student needs based on data from student work, assessments, and teacher observations. Which takes us to the next step, which is regular observations in each classroom, followed by feedback from the observer, which our leadership team works towards. Our 4.0 rubric has been a focus this year. It's been a topic in clusters throughout the year as we dive a little bit deeper into each indicator and descriptor to help teachers grow in their instructional practices. Additionally, our district has offered several district-level professional learning opportunities on key topics. Thus far, we have participated in fractions, HMH curriculum, and sound walls. We are continuing the implementation of thinking maps in each of our classrooms. We have all of our teachers trained and implementing our thinking maps, and we will begin right from the beginning training next month. And then the last bullet is the intentional planning and implementation of Tier 2 small group instruction in our classrooms to meet the needs of those students that need a little more support. We have a couple of celebrations to point out. 82% of our students showed growth on math during the winter testing cycle, and 84% of students showed growth on MAP ELA during the winter testing cycle. Our first grade scored within the 56th median percentile in MAP growth, third grade in the 54th median percentile in MAP growth, and fourth grade in the 51st median percentile in math growth. And on the ELA MAP test, third grade scored in the 93rd median percentile in growth, and fourth grade in the 62nd median percentile in ELA growth. All of our teachers are trained in Thinkin' Maps, and all of our teachers 4K through third grade are letters trained or currently enrolled in letters training. Our next goal centers around our school climate and increasing our score on the school report card from average to good. This May, our action steps include a virtual school-wide morning meeting that classrooms participate in every day. This is an interactive Google Meet. This is where we do the pledge and the moment of silence. We recognize birthdays. We celebrate our related arts awards each week and our students of the month each month. We do 5-Star Fridays where we have an interview. We've had Dr. Penland, Coach Porter from the high school, Miss South Carolina, Davis Wash, and even Mark Willis, one of our state representatives, join us on Friday mornings for those 5-Star Friday interviews. We also, on Thursdays, we recognize Thankful Thursday, and we try to show an attitude of gratitude. We spin a wheel of names and have a student from the classrooms that are chosen to share something they are thankful for on that particular day. And on Mondays, we have Mindset Monday, which we recognize and focus on our character trait of the month. That is our second bullet on the slide. So far, we have looked at cooperation, empathy, integrity, responsibility, and kindness. Our guidance counselor also centers her classroom guidance lessons around these character traits as well each month. We're also working to host more family and community events. We had a Veterans Day music program, a holiday music program, fall festival sponsored by PTO. We've had the fire department come and visit. We had a holiday literacy night, and we have a STEAM museum coming up as a family science night in February. We recognize our students of the month, one per classroom. They received a certificate, a special bracelet, and then we film a video where they each share what it means to be a 5-star student to them. We are working on increasing family communication. I do a weekly call out on Sunday afternoons with a weekly update, and then a monthly newsletter that goes home with each student. And then we have our school-wide behavior expectations and STAR passes that students can earn and earn their way towards a behavior celebration. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So here we have a couple of photos from our community partnerships. You'll recognize Batman in the middle from our Batman Empowerment assembly. We've got the fire department. The Waterloo Fire Department is so good to us, but they came and visited us on Fire Prevention Week. And then we had the Columbia Marionette Theater come and do a litter program. We are a Michelin grant recipient. They, again, are a wonderful partner for us at Waterloo. You can see in that first picture, they donated bukus of STEM materials to our library. Our librarian has a focus on literacy and STEM connections, so she received a lot of STEM materials, including 3D pens, a Polaroid camera, lots of things that she can use to connect to her literacy lessons. And that other picture is an example of her book, Balloons Over Broadway, where they read the book. It's about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. They then did research on the history of the parade, the balloons, and how those balloons are made. And then their STEM activity was creating a float or a balloon. And you can see those fellas made a turkey. We also were awarded a $1,000 grant through Michelin, which is helping fund our science night in February. Here are a few pictures of our family engagement events. You can see Santa paid us a visit for our holiday literacy night, where we had Santa, hot chocolate, cookies, and studied holiday traditions around the world. We had a holiday Christmas program that 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students performed at. And then on the right, you'll see pictures from our grandparent breakfast back in September. Professional learning has been a focus this year with our NIET partnership and growing our teachers. We have clusters, like I said, every week. We also have Tuesday afternoon professional learning opportunities, and these are opportunities for teachers to share, collaborate, lead, and learn from each other. And then, this is exciting, But we have been awarded for an NIET National Award. We had a media crew on campus last week getting some video and photos of the awesome things going on in our building. We even had the CEO of NIET stop by and pay us a visit, and we will find out at National Conference in February if we are the recipient of that award. And lastly, I'll leave you with some pictures of the heart of what we do, which is our students. And I'm going to ask Charlotte and Amelia to step back up here for a minute. And they are going to show you our school-wide callback that we do every morning at the end of morning meeting. Don't hide behind me. All right, you ready? All right. We are 5 stars.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sparks.
Thank you, Ms. Parks.
And if I could have a moment to, before you go into the superintendent's report, since Dr. Penland was running the meeting initially, I just wanted to take a moment to welcome everybody here tonight. I know it's Board Appreciation Month, and I certainly appreciate, it looks like maybe there's some parents in the audience, but also a lot of our principals are here. So we appreciate that you came tonight. And if you would indulge me, I'd like to take just a moment of silence to recognize my Angel Walker, who was murdered in December, and also Mr. Carruthers, who was a math teacher at the high school, and he passed away recently. It's been a hard year for our district as far as losing mostly teachers, but some students as well. So if you could take a moment of silence with me, I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Dr. Penland, I'll turn it over to you.
I did want to share a little bit about my Angel Walker. She was a 2024 graduate. She graduated last May, and she was a basketball and track athlete. She had done a lot of studying with CNA and was currently working at NHC. She had an infectious smile, and I do ask that you please keep her family and friends in your thoughts and memories and prayers as they continue to deal with her loss. Mr. Carruthers was a great math teacher. My son actually had him as a math teacher. He had 21 years of experience, had 8 years in our district, and you know, it was one of those things that math doesn't always come easy to everybody, but he had that knack to make it relatable and understandable for students. Mr. Compton always enjoyed talking about his baseball cards with him, and so I appreciate Mr. Compton being here too. And he is continually missed by his students, colleagues, and family, and I do also ask that you'll keep them in your prayers as we continue to move forward. Going into some district updates, we did have a legislative breakfast at the beginning of January where we were able to host about 32 community and legislators. That included board members, community members, including mayors, councilmen, and also representation from Mr. Tim Scott's office, Mr. Verdon and Doug Gilliam, and several others were in presence. But it was a very good meeting. We were able to actually make those connections to where we could actually have that open dialogue with them to be able to reach out as needs arise, and also kind of place some needs that we already have in their lap to see if there's assistance in there. During that meeting, I did share about my word. Board members, you have the book in front of you. It is a gift from us to you. It's one of the words, it's one of the things that I used at the beginning of the year with our administrators and also with our cabinet members to really look through what the My Word is with John Gordon, and it's really kind of setting the tone for a New Year's resolution, but you know, so many times we get away from a resolution, but really tie back into what we need and what we can do. And the one word is something that whenever he talks through, is talk about how you find your word, and it's a process of finding your word. And the three things that he states is that you have to prepare your heart by looking in, discover your word by looking up, and live your word by looking out. And this year, you know, we focused a lot on the 5-star culture of excellence and building that. You know, we know we're not there, but what does it take to get there in every aspect of our district? And whenever I kept trying to decide what my word was, it was difference. I kept coming back to difference, as in what do I need to do? How can I take any situation that we come up in our district and make a difference in that situation? And so that is something that that is my word. That is not going to be everybody's word. Everybody in this whole room would have a different word as we kind of move forward. So that is mine this year. You know, mine will be different next year. No pun intended for a difference for next year. But that is my goal and my passion this year, is to be the difference maker in where we go as our district moves forward, but not only for our district, but in my personal life too. And so whenever we start talking about school board appreciation, you know, I do hope you all get your own word. And as you have put your work and your heart into our district, I appreciate the difference that you make to our district. And thank you so much. And Faye has done a great job capturing a lot of your visits to schools and your work here with the district office at some of our meetings. So thank you so much for everything you do. You know, the schools and the district has provided little small tokens for you out there on the table. So just to somehow or another to show our appreciation of everything that you do and everything you do for our district and our students and our community. And I just want to take this time to say thank you so much. It is now my great pleasure. We have 2 teachers that have completed their national board certification. And so established in 1987, National Board Certification is the most respected professional certification available in education and provides numerous benefits to teachers, students, and schools. It was designed to develop and retain and recognize accomplishments, teachers, and to generate ongoing improvement in schools nationwide. Recognized as the gold standard in teacher certification, the National Board believes higher standards for teachers means better learning for students. The founding mission by the National Board is to advance the quality of teaching and learning by maintaining high rigorous standards for accomplished teachers and providing a national voluntary system certifying them to meet these rigorous standards. So it is my great pleasure to ask Ms. Shantae Harris, a 5th grade math science teacher at Lawrence Elementary, and Ms. Diane Manny from Lawrence High School, who is our chemistry and physics teacher, to come forward. And they join 17 other National Board teachers in our district. So again, thank you so much for everything. And also would now like to share that we had students from Gray Court Elementary, our Gray Court STEP team, attended and performed at the South Carolina Alliance of Black School Educators in Charleston this past weekend. And so we have a couple of clips that I would like to share of their presentation at the conference, and I hope this works. Yep. So. And then they also did a chair step. I do not have that type of
Wow.
coordination. So I do want to thank Mr. Intrican and Dr. York, the guidance counselor at Gray Court, for heading that up, and they do that as an after-school program component, and they have that. And so they were selected to go perform this past weekend in Charleston. So again, congratulations to them. Some information about our inclement weather day and makeup day. That is something that we are still working on with legislation and the legislators, is that there may be some legislation that is passed that may allow us to either use e-learning days at a higher rate. Right now, we're only allowed to use 5. We already used some of those through Hurricane Helene and also through our inclement weather and snow and ice storms that we've had in January. So we have one day slated right now to make up, but we'll be able to make that decision after legislation is decided if that's going to pass or not. Also an update on Hurricane Helene, that the damages and repairs, most of them have been completed. We're still working on some fencing areas that were damaged by trees. Most of the stumps and trees have been removed. We're working with insurance to pay for that. And then once insurance pays, we can submit a claim to FEMA. And we have met with our FEMA representative this past week, and we'll be able to work through that process to cover hopefully the majority of the cost that was related to Hurricane Helene as we go forward. And then after FEMA picks up their 75% of what the insurance doesn't, there may be some state assistance and some state aid that will help pick up the rest of that funding. All right, just information for you all. Academic letter is going to be at LDHS on February 10th, 6 p.m. You all have been invited, so we'll also push that out from Candace, but wanted to get that on your calendar also today. Also on our to-do is we have early childhood registration. Early childhood registration is February 4th and 5th from 8:30 to 2, and also February 6th, 8:30 to 6 p.m. at the school. And we're asking all 5K students, all 4K, 5K early childhood students to register at their home school, even if they are asking for a kind of a waiver to go somewhere else. And we have Ms. Faye Colley has also put together one of these for each one of the schools to push out our information for each one of the elementary schools, and this one just happens to be Fords. All right, Career Center update. We have requested and received a Career Center video. We're working with our local legislators and also Lawrence 56 to hopefully bring a Career Center to Lawrence County. And this is a video that we have put together so that we can kind of help promote this with those that can possibly provide funding.
The community impact that this center will have is huge because it will provide our students the opportunities to go ahead and gain the skills and employability that will help our industrial and our community grow. It will allow them to be already career ready, military ready, and also prepare them for college as they look to a 2-year or a 4-year degree.
And one of the most important things about this is it's 2 districts working as one for the benefit of one county. What we're looking at is with the coordinated efforts of county council, with the coordinated efforts of the 2 city councils, with everyone coming together for the purpose of the future. Only then can Lawrence County be what it is designed to be, and that is the best it can be.
We are thrilled about the opportunity to be bringing a career and technology center into our county. It will be a wonderful asset, and let me tell you a little bit about that. It is our endeavor to make sure that all of our children graduate high school, college, career, and military ready. The educational opportunities that will be available at the Career Center will include healthcare opportunities, IT opportunities, and business, as well as trades such as construction and welding, and those are the opportunities that the children need to succeed in life. I hope we get the center because the students would really appreciate that because it helps them.
My goal in life is either to be a professional baseball player or a professional welder. And this class has just brought the opportunity to do one of those in life. If I'm going in the workforce, I'll already be prepared instead of just not knowing what to do and then coming out of high school, knowing what to do, you have a higher opportunity to get a job somewhere, like a fab shop or out in the field.
I want like a public service career, EMT, science, firefighting, like doctor career. Want to help people out, do all that I can.
My goal is to own a restaurant. The reason why is because I want my own business. I love to cook, and I think a culinary class will help is because, I mean, I know stuff from home, but it would be nice to learn different aspects of culinary arts.
I think the Career Center would be a good opportunity for students because it gives them a chance to go straight into the workforce. And like, we have natural disasters every day, like California that just happened, and firefighters are needed, nurses are needed to help take care of the burn patients. It's important to help people like all throughout life because like that can really change a person's life, and like I want to be the type of person to do that and change someone's life, save someone's life, just help anybody I can because I think that's the most important thing in like the world right now.
Welding is just a different experience. It brought me like more opportunities in life so I can experience the workforce and learn about welding and the different opportunities that are out there for that job.
So as we think about the opportunities for students as they prepare for college and career, we want to really think about bridging those gaps and providing those real-world experiences with cutting-edge schools, and having a career and technology center would offer these opportunities to the children. And at the end of the day, that's what it needs to be about. It needs to be about all children succeeding in the ways that they need to succeed.
The Career Center is going to be a great opportunity for our students moving forward. When they leave this program, they are certified as medical assistants, certified clinical medical assistants, and EKG technicians. Those are both national certifications. Our students can leave here, go out in the workforce, get a job, become productive members of society, and that can also help them with furthering their education and help them to see other career fields while they're working out there in the community, and help them to decide whether they want to continue on to be a registered nurse or a physician's assistant or a physical therapist or any other career field that they might want to go into medically. So I'm really looking forward to all the success that we can have at our Career Center.
Based on the architectural designs to date, and the engineering and the staffing that we expect, it's projected to be at least a $50 million construction project. And going forward, District 56 and District 55 will cooperate, and the school board will cooperate to provide anywhere from $3 to $4 million a year to operate the facility and staff it. And that's going to be an ongoing commitment from both District 55 and 56 Board of Trustees. So there's going to be a full commitment from both districts to make this happen. And really, in talking about those numbers, you can get caught up in those, but you have to realize that we're approaching this as an investment in the future, an economic development investment for Lawrence County, as well as surrounding areas, and investment in the quality of lives for these students.
Having two kids that came through our career technology opportunities at the high school is huge for being able to provide our kids, not only my personal two kids, but also the students in general in our county, the skills and opportunities to prepare them for the workforce.
The CAKE program, for me personally, gave me a pathway to success when I was in high school because I actually took this class myself. When I was in school, I was wired a little differently. I'm more of a problem solver, so the academic classes didn't speak to me as loud as the CAKE program did. So the CAKE program incentivized me as well as gave me opportunities that I might not have received otherwise. Really enjoy being here. Look forward to working with kids who are wired similar to myself, have an aptitude that I have. Also recognize that not all kids are wired the same. So these kids, we reach out to them through the CAKE program, and they learn another pathway to success in life.
Many of our students are coming from places where they don't get the encouragement to look at these opportunities, or they're just not aware of them. So Career and Technology Center exposes them to
So I'm ready to make an impact on the world because I've seen what happens, like just out of the blue. Like COVID, that happened out of nowhere. People had to stay home. There were hospitals were packed everywhere, and like nowadays, nurses are really needed because, as you can see, like you never know what happens in the day of your life. I'm very thankful for classes like this one, firefighting, EMT class.
Currently, I'm taking marketing and entrepreneurship. I'm thankful for those classes because it will help me towards my future in owning a restaurant. I'm thankful for this class for just allowing me to do what I need to do in this class and teaching me the ways. And I'm probably do some well after school, so I'm looking forward to it.
I know already I'm prepared for my future because of these classes. I'm very thankful for that. I have this education set up where I can take these classes and learn all that I need to know for my future, help me out, get prepared early, start young, so I'll know what to do in the future.
And the center will provide our community with skilled, experienced, certified professionals. And to me, that is a win.
The potential growth in Lawrence is huge, sitting right here on the course of 2 interstates and being prime location for our industry. We need to be able to provide the workers and the workforce for our industry to be able to recruit them into our area.
I look forward to having a career and technology education center. Lawrence County is in need of it because we have opportunities for students. And if you're going to have students with the best opportunities, they need to have the skills, the work skills to be successful. And this career center is the hope and the dream of making that a reality and not just a possibility.
I'd like to thank
Oh, I
Brian.
love that. You surprised us with that. We haven't got to watch that yet.
So I'd like to thank Bryant Kirkwhite, who is does a lot of our videoing and that type of stuff, and he does a fabulous job with that. And we tasked him with that right before Christmas, and it came back right after Christmas and nailed it. And so he did an amazing job, and so I thank him for that. Any questions before I swap over to our other presenters? Okay, Ms. Knight, we have an update for food and nutrition.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Great. I like that. Well, tonight, we just want to share a few student nutrition updates with you guys, kind of what we've been going on in our world in 24-25. Of course, we always like to talk about our mission statement. You know, we want to provide all students with nutritious school meals that are appealing to their taste. We also want to create a friendly customer service environment that strives for that 5-star culture that kind of stays in line with all that we have going on here. Of course, our meals meet USDA guidelines: protein, grain, bread, fruits, vegetables, milk. And right now we're averaging about 7,300 meals a day. That's breakfast and lunch. We're employing about 88 employees at this time, staff members. 60% of those work our summer program. And we'll talk a little bit more about our summer program here shortly. But that does provide some of our staff, if they want to have year-round work, they certainly can achieve that by working in our summer program. We were fortunate, thanks to you guys, thanks to Dr. Penland, we were able to give a 5% increase again this year. We're continuing to try to get those wages on up to be competitive with other industry around us as well as other neighboring districts. So we hope to continue to be able to offer that opportunity to have a few more increases along the way. Our staff, we do undergo annual training. Our employees must meet at least 6 hours of continuing education. And of course, all of our employees receive food safety training, and at least 2 of our staff members have to have that National ServSafe certification in food safety. We continue to operate, I mentioned our seamless summer option each year for our summer meal program. Just to kind of touch on this, we served 51,291 meals in the summer of 2024. As you can see, that's 26,942 lunches, 24,349 breakfasts. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about the 2025, but we hope to continue our summer meal program. That is a huge success for us every year. It's a win-win for our employees, but truly a win-win for our students out there that really need those meals in the summer. We have been approved for our CEP, which is our Community Eligibility Provision, district-wide for another 4 years, and of course, that's based upon our free reduced direct certification and of course our poverty level here. And as we all know, we do have a lot of food insecure children out there. So we are fortunate that we'll be able to offer lunch at no cost, breakfast at no cost for at least another 4 years. Just a few of our celebrations. In October, we provided over 24,840 meals in one day to students during Hurricane Helene. On Monday, September 30th, it was a multi-day pickup. That was 4 days at all of our schools. Just kind of note and a huge shout out to our staff and student nutrition. A lot of our staff came in, guys, with no power, no water. They had their own trees on their homes, and they came in to make sure that these kids were fed on those days. And I thank you. They need your help because, you know, they truly did an outstanding job on that day to pull it together from the time Helene hit on Friday the 27th until Monday the 30th, where we said, hey, we're going to have a multi-day pickup. They pulled together, they put this food together, they bagged it up, and had parents coming through those pickup lines handing out meals. And we did over 24,840 meals these students could have while they were out for Hurricane Helene. So that's a true shout out. I personally want to thank our student nutrition staff for what they did during that time. Also, we have fun a lot of times. We participate in fall festivals, which is a lot of fun with the Waterloo Elementary, Ford Elementary, Hickory Tavern School. And we provide healthy snacks, and we talked a little bit about our program, and nutritional information is given out. Also, we celebrate National School Lunch Week. This year it was a pirate theme, which is a lot of fun because we were able to enjoy activities. The kids seemed to enjoy it. Our staff even got into the theme, and we had pirate hats and pirate eye patches, and so it was a lot of fun that week, just to kind of, again, to promote our program. October 2024, we also provided that was Hispanic Heritage Month, and we did actually provide a Hispanic meal for students and parents in some schools during that time. All right, we into January now, and it was kind of like, okay, we got to do something else here. We have snow coming now. We had a hurricane, in September. Now we got snow in January. So whenever we got the word on the 9th, we actually started packing meals. We sent 6,078 breakfast and lunch home on Thursday for the kids to consume on the Friday while they were out for e-learning day. A couple of things that we have coming up would be February. We're going to celebrate Black History Month. We're going to have a special meal on February 20th, and we've invited parents to come to that. They would need to notify their school because obviously we do need to plan ahead and prepare accordingly. March the 3rd, we will celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday. And then we go into National School Breakfast Week, which is this year it's Clue into School Breakfast. So we're getting our thoughts together already for some fun activities to do during that week. And then, of course, Friday, May 2nd is our School Lunch Hero Day, which is a national celebration throughout so that we can celebrate and honor our school lunch cafeteria staff. One of the grants that we're real proud of is our Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Grant. We currently have our 5 elementary schools, Ford, Greycourt, E.B. Morris, Lawrence Elementary, and Waterloo. As you note, we're missing Hickory Tavern. Unfortunately, Hickory Tavern does not qualify at this time because it is based on our direct certification, free reduced. They're close, but they're not quite there yet, so we'll continue to apply for them every year. And the total amount of the grant this year was $126,837.95. What that grant does is we have the opportunity to provide our elementary schools with fresh fruits and vegetables. A lot of times it's locally grown. It gives them an opportunity to try different types of fruits and vegetables that they may not always get in their homes. So that's a lot of fun to actually give them new and different things for them to try. We're real proud of some of the equipment upgrades. This just went in last week, so Sanders has a brand new serving line. Miss Barbara Watts and her team are super excited about this serving line. You can see Miss Barbara over here on the, I guess that's the right-hand side for you, yeah, right-hand side for you guys. She's all smiles right now, so we're real happy about that. A few other upgrades we're doing. We've got cafeteria tables, high-top tables, chairs ordered for the high school. EV got a new reach-in refrigerator. EV and Greycourt also had to have steamers out of necessity. Theirs have gone down. We got upgraded our freezer cooler monitoring system, which helps us let us know, notify us if we're having problems with any of our freezers or coolers, which is a cost savings to us that we don't lose as much food, as if we did not have the system in place. We also hope to get, in the works is a central freezer here at the back of the district office, which would help us to have direct shipments brought in. And hopefully we'll have that coming here in the summer of 2025. Also, it will be an overflow that if we had a freezer go down, we would have somewhere to be able, because unfortunately during Helene, it was a hard lesson learned, but we were able to move one school to another school. But obviously we all knew, we had one school with power, I believe it was, E.B. Morse. And no, we had two, Lawrence Middle and
Lawrence
E.B.
Middle,
Morse.
yeah.
So we were able to move one of the schools there, but then their freezers were full. So we didn't have the opportunity to move some of the other schools, so we did lose some food during that time, because as you know, in my area out of Hickory Tavern as well as Graycourt, I think we were 7, 8 days without power. So, we're learning that, hey, if we had a central freezer here, we could have pulled all the food here. We had the means to have the box truck. So also, we would be able to receive direct shipments, which would be a lower cost on the food as well. So we hope to have that up and running, hopefully by the fall. We will continue to upgrade and replace outdated equipment as we go along. We do want to have another shout out. Last year, our Student Nutrition Employee of the Year was Megan Simmons, and she is at our Sanders location. She is our cashier there. Megan does a great job for us, so we wanted to note that as well. We are still implementing share tables, and some people say, what are share tables? Well, all of our cafeterias do have share tables, okay? And that allows students who do not open non-perishable items to place them on the share table versus just throwing them away. For one, it reduces food waste, but also it provides non-perishable items to others that may be food insecure. So if you got high school kids, middle school kids, and they're elementary kids, and they're like, I'm still hungry, hey, go grab off the share table. So it gives them the opportunity to have a little extra. Last year, I mentioned School Lunch Hero is coming up, but last year, this is just a few pictures that we took. We do give all of our staff shirts, a small gift, and a cake just to celebrate their hard work. And again, as I mentioned, we hope to do that again this May. Free summer meals, it is coming. We're already in the works. Of course, we'll have more information. I've already had some of the community partners reach out to us. So we're already making plans for that. We certainly plan to operate all of June into July. We don't have the specific dates and times, but we'll certainly update you guys as soon as we get that kind of planned out here in the next month or two. But again, I do want to mention it does provide work for our staff that would like to have year-round work. And again, our summer totals last year was $51,291. And our expectation is to exceed that every year, and that's kind of the standard I put out there. Expectation is, okay, this is where we were last year. Let's do a little better. Let's do a little better, and our staff, they never fail us. They always continue to push forward and try to reach as many kids as they possibly can. So, thank y'all so much. Is there any questions? Well, I want to personally thank you guys for all your continued support for student nutrition, and we're here if we ever can help in any way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knight.
Thank you, Wanda. Okay, next we have Miss Amanda Lackaroche. She'll talk about our LEARNS grant and our continuous improvement plans.
Good evening.
Evening.
I am here to talk about the LEARNS update, but it actually rolls right into our turnaround plans as well. The turnaround plans will require some board action. We have to have approval from the school board for our turnaround plans. We shared the actual plans with you in your packet so you could see more of the action steps, so I won't go through all those tonight. But I want to talk a little bit to start with our LEARNS grant. The LEARNS grant is a 3-year grant. It started on October 1st, 2024, so we are in the middle of our 2nd year of that grant. It has 4 primary components. The first is an opportunity for our educators to be teacher leaders. Those are our master teachers, our mentor teachers. One of our national board certified teachers here this evening is one of our master teachers, because master teachers are teacher leaders and they know how to teach and they're our experts. So we use our teacher leaders in our instructional leadership teams as well as our clusters every week. So they help provide ongoing professional development. That job-embedded professional learning is done weekly with all teachers, and it is provided by our teacher leaders. We have evaluations. You heard Ms. Parks talk about evaluations going on and feedback for teachers. We are in cycle 2 of evaluations and observations for the LEARNS grant. So that means all teachers are observed at least 3 times a year and given feedback. The purpose of those observations are for people to grow and to be better tomorrow than they are today. They're not about gotchas and things like that. They're designed to help people get better in their craft. And then, of course, we have performance-based compensation, which are the salaries and the bonuses. So I'll talk a little bit about what we've accomplished so far since the last time I was here. We have coordinated all of our school improvement work to align with our school plans. So when you see the turnaround plans today, those academic goals that are in the turnaround plans came directly from their school plans that they created in the summer through the LEARNS grant. The goals that you saw in Ms. Parks' improvement plan, which she's not a turnaround, her school is not a turnaround school, but they still have continuous improvement plans. Their academic goals came from the school plan with the LEARNS grant, as she had mentioned. So we have continued monthly trainings and support for our administrators and our teacher leaders. So master teachers meet with myself and the Office of Teaching and Learning on a monthly basis. And we also include an assistant principal from every school in that training as well, to just help develop more instructional leadership throughout the district. Our weekly cluster meetings with all educators. I talked about the evaluations. We did disseminate the final performance-based compensation bonus for year 1, and that was based on last year's student growth, and it was distributed in October for anybody that was here as a teacher last year and came back this year. They were eligible for that bonus, and they were pretty sizable bonuses for the work that our teachers have done to help improve student achievement and to improve their own craft. And then we have a performance-based compensation model for years 2 and 3. So our staff this year will receive performance-based compensation in May or June based on, I keep looking this way because it cuts off there, sorry. In May and June for their observations that are done, so how they do in their teacher performance, as well as their attendance at work. So half of their performance-based compensation will be based on that, and they will receive that in May or June. And then the second part of the performance-based compensation for the year 2 will be based on student growth, student achievement. And that will be disseminated probably again in October. We'd like to do it in September, but we really just have to rely on when that report card data comes out from the state. So some things I wanted you to be aware of and for everybody to be aware of. We have some budget implications. When we were notified that we had received the $13.9 million grant, it is over 3 years. That doesn't mean we actually get the $13.9 million. It means if they fully fund those projects every year, we'll get the $13.9 million. They did not fully fund the project for this year, for the year 2. So we found out in March of last year that there was the possibility that there wouldn't be the funding. We were told, oh, this happens all the time, don't worry about it. And I kept saying, I don't feel right about this. So we made some decisions at the district level to be a little conservative in case those budget cuts came. And so we hired 18 of the 20 master teacher positions that were originally written in the grant. And we froze teaching specialist hiring at 35, where the grant actually had us up to, I believe it was 53 or something like that. So, and then we cut the performance-based compensation by $500,000. And we were able to roll that money into year 2. We are currently in year 2. Year 2 started in October 1st. And lo and behold, the budget cuts came. And so thankfully we did what we did back last spring in anticipation. So we are implementing our TAP model with 2 less master teachers, and 8 less teaching specialists than what the grant originally designed. But we are able to do that because we started out of the gate and made those adjustments early on. We did have to reduce some of the coaching days by NIET by 12 days, and then we cut this year's performance-based compensation by another $500,000 because we lost over $1 million just in year 2 in the budget cuts that were made at the federal level. So this is a TSL grant. It's a teacher school leader grant that has to be funded every year through the federal government. And so it gets put in front of the legislators, and they decide whether they're going to put it in the budget or not. And so last year, they decided to put it in the budget, but at a significantly reduced rate. And so we had to make up that cut. So we have been told that year 3 could potentially be the same level that it is this year, which would mean we're down a little over $1 million than what we were before. So we're talking about that. We're looking at that, trying to decide how that will work. I did talk to the advisory committee today about that. They'll be involved in giving some recommendations as to what do we think are the best ways to make those cuts if we have to. But overall, I think what's important for us to know is that we have created the TAP model. We are implementing the TAP model. We are seeing growth. We are seeing progress, all within a year and a half, and having a I believe it's $1.2 million cut. So this is doable. We just need to be prepared, and thankfully, we took it seriously from the very beginning, and we set ourselves up for success, and our teachers and our staff are doing a phenomenal job with this model. But as the school board, I think it's important for you to be aware of what's happening. And then, of course, they could fund the whole thing and go back to the original level, or they could cut the entire thing. But either way, we are talking about those things, and we're making plans, and we'll bring you updates as we go with that. But how does that impact turnaround plans? I had mentioned that, and this is a graphic that you probably recall from last year when we talked about turnaround plans. Every school that is either below average or unsatisfactory, and we don't have any schools that are in the unsatisfactory category this year, have to go through the continuous school improvement process as of last school year in the state of South Carolina. And this process is to really look at our data, select 3 to 4 focus areas, create a plan to address those areas, implement that, and then monitor and evaluate that plan and make adjustments to that plan as we go along. So that also is the TAP model when it comes to creating a school plan, having an instructional leadership team meet on a weekly basis, look at their plan, look at their action plan, provide professional learning with the focus areas, and make adjustments when data comes. And so this is nothing new for us. We started this last year. Then the TAP model came in, and now these are all married and connected together. So as far as our turnaround plans, we had 5 schools that ended up below average, so are required to create a turnaround plan. All 9 of our schools have created improvement plans. 5 of them have to be called turnaround plans. The other 4 are called improvement plans. You actually already saw Waterloo's improvement plan today because Ms. Parks just presented it to you. It's the same thing. You're going to see a lot of similar results. So with the turnaround process, we did the data dives and identified the areas that we needed to focus on. And then we went out for stakeholder feedback, and that was back in November. You may have gotten emails or notices from the principals if you have students in any of those schools, and we'll get to those schools in a little bit. And then the School Improvement Council then had to look at the plan. They got the feedback, made adjustments to the plan based on the feedback, and then the School Improvement Council looked at the plan and made an overall approval of the plan, and then that's what's sitting in front of you right now. Every improvement plan or turnaround plan will have an English language arts goal. It is the exact same goal as is in their Learn School plan. Every plan will have a math goal. The high school has English and math together. That's their academic goal. It is the same as their Learn School plan. And every school, thanks to Dr. Penland, has a school climate goal as well. He had asked all principals to create a school climate goal for this year, and they have placed that into their improvement plans. The high school also has a college and career readiness goal as well, because as you know, those are the key areas of the school report card that we have some real direct impact in. Lawrence Middle School is one of our schools. It's one of our newest schools that is designated as a turnaround school, but their plan for English language arts is to increase their English language arts growth from spring to spring by 10%. The same thing in math is to increase from spring to spring by 10%. It is also to keep those students that were already proficient, to keep them proficient. Okay, so a lot of our schools chose to focus on student growth and that our students would grow by 10%, but then also keep the same level of proficiency for those that were already proficient or above. And then their third goal is also to improve school climate by increasing students' sense of safety and belonging by 10%, which is something that is rated in the South Carolina School Report Card. You will see a very similar theme as we go through our turnaround plans. E.B. Morris is our other new school that is in the turnaround status for this school year. They have the percentage of students scoring met and above on SC Ready, spring to spring again, in ELA will increase by 10%. So you're seeing some patterns here. ELA, 10% in both schools. Same thing with math. They're also looking at increasing by 10%. And then they too are looking at they're going to effectively use communication to increase school climate. So you'll see in some of the goals for school climate, schools have identified specific areas that they know they need to work on in order to be able to increase that school climate category. At Ford, their goal is to increase from 25% in 2024 to 35% in 2025 in the area of English language arts. And on SC Ready, and all other students will perform on their assessments will also increase by 10%. So they're not looking just at SC Ready, they're also looking at their FastBridge as well as on their map. And in math, I'm sorry, that one was math. In ELA, they will increase from 23.1% to 35%. And they're looking at the same thing, not just in SC Ready, but they're also looking at that for their map and their FastBridge assessments. And so math is used in grades 1 through 5, and it's used as benchmarks. We do it in the fall, in the winter, and in the spring. And then FastBridge is what we use for our kindergarten students. So we're able to then track the growth at our lower grades as well, and not just waiting until they get to 3rd grade. And their school rating on the school report card, they're looking to improve that from unsatisfactory all the way up to average. So that's actually jumping 2 categories, and that's their goal for this year. Gray Court Owings is looking at, and they have combined their elementary, middle school. Elementary is a turnaround school. Their middle school is just doing the improvement plan like everybody else in the district. We all have improvement plans, and their goal too is to increase 10% in English language arts and 10% in math. And then in the area of school climate, they'll increase the satisfaction with the social and physical environment from 77.6 to 81%. And when they increase that, that will take them up to the next level in school report card. And the final school is the high school. The high schools looks a little different because of the way that the school report card is done for them. Keep in mind, turnaround plans are designed to move schools out of a below average or an unsatisfactory rating. Last year we had Lawrence Elementary was an unsatisfactory rating, and they moved all the way out to an average rating. This year, Lawrence High School was right on the line. They almost made it. We actually just got notification today. I don't even think Dr. Penland's seen it yet because it came in after 4 o'clock today after he was in meetings with you. The high school has moved themselves out of another designation. They were in a second round of ATSI, which is a targeted school improvement group, and they came out of that. We got that notification at about 4:14 today. I don't think Mr. Compton even So congratulations to you all, because the work that they did last year with their turnaround plan really made a difference. It wasn't enough quite to get them to that average rating, but they're gonna get there, because at their first goal is focused on their end of course exams, and they plan to increase those by 10%. Their college and career readiness, they hope to increase by 10%. I can tell you they have already increased it well over 10%, so we already know that we've met that goal for this year already, thanks to some hard work on the back end with our career and readiness people. And Ms. Culbertson, our assistant principal there, kind of took that under her wing and decided we were going to do something with that right away. So, and then their school climate goal of increasing that indicator from 51.8% all the way up to 70%, as measured by the school report card. So really what we're looking for is approval from the school board that you're comfortable with us focusing on these areas and having plans that we revisit regularly in our schools, and that's what drives what we do in our clusters every week, and it drives the improvement conversations that we have in our schools.
Thank you, Ms. Lacrose. We do need to have board action on this, so if we could get a motion to approve the school improvement plan as it has been presented to us.
And before we go, I just want to make sure, because I've perused what was sent over as far as each individual school's turnaround plan. Is that what we're
Yes,
approving?
we have
that
to-
turnaround plan for each individual school?
Yes.
And, you know, I'm married to an educator. I'm not a educator per se. And so I guess as I read through this, I don't, as a board member, I'm not sure I'm qualified to know, is this what's gonna happen, you know? Will this action do what we're gonna do? And so, you know, my take on that is we gotta trust. Are you confident with these turnaround plans? that
Right, so
this is gonna
these
do the turnaround?
actions, these actions had to be created by the instructional leadership teams. So we have our expert professionals in the instructional leadership teams in our buildings that come up with actions. A lot of the action steps that are in here, especially for English language arts and for math, like I said, come directly through our Learns grant. So we've had multiple professional development trainings through the summer. I believe we were here for 4 days in the summer to really learn how to develop a school plan. The other piece about our turnaround plans is all of the action plans that are in there, I then have to look at and make sure that now I believe it's 19 years I've been doing school improvement, and know whether these are best practices
Fair.
for school improvement. Are they foolproof? Nothing is foolproof, otherwise nobody would be in school improvement, right?
We wouldn't need it, right?
But we know what works, and we need to stick to what works. And, you know, we look at one word, and my one word for this year is purity. And it's actually very different than what most people would think if, you know, a woman stands up here and says purity. That's not what it is. It's about, let's get to the pure base of what we know matters and what we know works. And that's what we're gonna focus on, and then we're gonna get to where we need to be.
Yeah, I think ultimately, we just see our scores go up, or representative that we're educating the kids right. My other question was, and this one's really with Gray Court, there was an item, you've got a column in here that talks about the total for strategy, and there's one of these, it's a numerical, a dollar value of $106,000 for academic interventionists. So is that budgeted, or is that, help me understand those numbers.
Right, so those dollar amounts that are in there, that's a very good question. The dollar amounts that are in there are strictly designed to inform the state that when we write Gray Court in particular, their comprehensive school improvement grant, that's how much we're going to be asking for to fund an additional academic interventionist.
Perfect.
If I don't put the amount in that plan, I can't write it in the grant. So
That's
any
great.
dollar amounts that you see in any of the plans, they're either going into the ATSI grant that I just talked about the high school coming out of, congratulations, that means they can't, or the Gray Court has the comprehensive school improvement grant, and that's what the dollar figures are. All those others that don't have dollar amounts on them, they cost money, they're just not coming out of those two grants.
Okay, great,
So
thank you for that
that's a very
explanation.
fair question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Anyone else have any more questions before we move forward? Okay. If we could get a motion to approve the comprehensive school improvement plan as presented.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the turnaround plans as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Luckman. Okay, tonight, we will sign our ethical principles list that comes out from the South Carolina School Board Association. So what I'll do is, what's next on our agenda? Do you want a picture with everyone after we've signed it? Okay, I'm gonna start with Ms. Kitt and let it pass, and then Dr. Penland can continue, and then we can take a picture once we're done.
We gonna
Do we,
read them?
I think we need to read it first.
Yeah, we need to read them.
If you want me to read it.
I'll read it.
Okay.
Don't mind. It seems like last year we didn't read it.
Yeah, we were supposed to.
Oh, I think Heather read it last year. Did you read it last year?
No, have never been read, but we're supposed to.
As members of the board, we pledge our efforts to improve public education in our community and will solemnly try to represent the interests of the entire district when making decisions and to rely on available facts and our own judgment rather than on individuals or special interest groups. Understand the proper role of the board to set policies governing the district and to hire the chief administrative officer to carry out these policies. Encourage an open exchange of ideas by all board members during the decision-making process. Seek regular communications between the board and students, staff, and all segments of the community. Attend all board meetings to study issues facing the board and to enact policies and official actions only after further discussions at meetings. Work with other board members in a conscientious and courteous manner, benefiting the public trust placed in the position of school board trustees. Communicate concerns and public reaction to board policies and school programs to the superintendent and other board members in a professional manner. Support employment of the persons best qualified for staff positions and to ensure a regular and impartial evaluation of all staff. Avoid conflicts of interest and to refrain from using our board positions for personal or partisan gain. Encourage recognition of the achievements of students and staff and the involvement of community residents. Support legislation and funding which will improve the educational opportunities and environment for students and staff. Take no individual action which would compromise the integrity of the board or administration, and to respect the confidentiality of the information that is privileged under the Freedom of Information Act. Study current educational issues and to participate in training programs such as those offered through the South Carolina School Board Association and make our district's educational setting the best possible to encourage all students to achieve and to love learning. And this would be dated January 27th, 2025. So I will give this to Ms. Kitt and we can just pass it around.
That comes off like, is that mandatory that we sign this?
It is something that the School Board Association asked that we do because we're committing to those ethical principles, but everyone can make
What
their
I'm
own
saying,
decision.
we haven't been dancing to those policies, in my opinion. And I don't wanna sign anything that we're not gonna actively pursue.
Mr. Carpenter, you can choose not to sign it if you wish. Yeah.
Mercy, Jesus Christ. Lord have mercy. Help us, Jesus.
And I just want to say I appreciate everyone around this table. And I do think that taking part in signing the principal statement, it's somewhat like going to church every week or going to the gym every morning. You have to reevaluate and reset because they're all areas that we all fall short. So I see this as an opportunity for us to reset and move forward to make sure we all are following the rules as we're supposed to. So thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is
We'll get when we go to executive session.
Board Exhibit IJ, Notification of Rights under the Protection of People Amendment, PPRA. The only change that was on this, and it does not require board action, but since we're updating the board policy, we just had one section in there that we had not updated a couple of years ago, just to say the school district has developed and adopted policies versus has versus will.
So that was the only change.
That was the only change in that one, and that was just for your information there. The next item on the agenda is Milestone Towers. Milestone Towers is a company that has reached out to us about putting a new cell tower on our property to lease, and the lease agreement was included in your packet. We have been approached by them for the lease agreement to place it on the property behind, at the backside of Collier Park. The initial price to us would be $25,000, and for each additional cell tower lease that they had for the companies to kind of log on would be another $5,000 for each one that kind of hooked onto the tower, with a monthly kind of fee that we would, or not a monthly fee, but a monthly revenue of roughly $2,000 with over a 10-year period, kind of totaling close to $300,000 over 10 years. So this, the pictures in here are the simulation of where they would actually place it. You can see the red X right there. It's at the lower part of Collier Park, down there at the lower entrance where the car loop comes in next to the baseball fields. Kind of looping that around, this is the front of Lawrence Middle, and if you can see, you can't really see it very good, but you can see that tree right in the middle. You can see that that's where the tower would be, just kind of in the skyline there. You also have the skyline coming beside E.B. Morris, which would be kind of facing that where you're getting ready to go into the car loop for E.B. Morris. This view is from the front of E.B. Morris, so you can see it in the skyline there. And also this would be on the back side of the properties. If you kept around that road, the trees and the foliage would hide the tower from the other side of the angles. So this would be bringing it as board action possibly this month. If you need more information, we can put it off to next month, but it would be a request to allow us to move forward with the lease agreement to allow Milestone Towers to place a tower on our property for revenue for us.
Is the tower going to be used for cellular?
It is cellular.
And they'll end up leasing that to whoever.
That's right. It's not like just a Verizon tower or just an AT&T tower. It'll be Milestone Towers, and they might lease it out to other companies.
I try to get through the lawyering of the lease.
Yeah.
It seemed really heavy. I guess some of my questions are at the end of how long is the lease? 10 years?
It is initial. They say they're in 5-year increments at the minimum of 10 years. So up to, they said a renewal for 4 times. So that would be 20 to 25 years.
So is there, in that document, was there anything at the end of the lease, if they don't agree to renew the lease or we don't come to terms, what happens to that tower?
They remove the tower.
Okay.
And the property remains us.
Okay.
If we end up selling the property, they would have first right of purchase of that little place that the tower is on.
Does this fall under our procurement code?
No.
Okay. And are there any regulations in South Carolina about it? Are other school districts doing this?
This would only allow them to start the process. They would still have to go through all the legal, getting the permits, getting the approval, and that kind of stuff. This just says, yes, we would allow them on our property if they go forward with all the other components. So they would have to do all the permitting and everything there. So
Have you met with them? I mean, have you interacted with the,
Jim, I think, and Rhett have.
Okay.
I have not personally, but we have met with them.
okay, I would, you know, your gut feeling is that, you know, your comfort level with their representatives, are you feel that this is a good partnership because they're gonna get on the property and have access to that property? And I assume they'll be able to access that property pretty easily.
Yeah, that would be on the
Collier
backside of
Road.
that Collier Road.
Yeah, yeah. I just, it'd be nice to know if they're thumbs up.
And they're willing to come to a board meeting if we need to postpone till next month. They would be willing to come present.
I would like to postpone, since this is kind of new
Same.
information, and
That's fine.
speak about it at a
Yeah.
later
Yeah,
date.
do they have a representative close by that can swing by here?
They would do that, yes.
Yeah, because
that'd
I'm
be
curious,
great.
like, the impact to the community, you know, are we gonna survey anybody? Would they survey, or do they just go up there and throw a tower up behind EB? And, because there's several housing communities back there, so I'm just curious, yeah.
Yeah, well, and at least, you know, now that it's public information, it gives the community a chance to reach out to us
Definitely.
with, you know, their opinions before we make a vote.
Definitely.
And do we have a tower on another property somewhere?
We have concrete towers that we utilize for our initial, whenever we did some broadband updating. So there is actually several of those around and one on each one of our properties that are not feasible for use for that type of structure. We've tried to allow that to kind of help, but we have the concrete, just single pole structures already on some of our properties.
Okay, what I was trying to, I don't have an awareness of what's a good lease for what what they're asking for.
Right.
Is it a fair market value, or is there another tower company out there that we could, you know,
Make
get more revenue? Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
is it a fair?
Right.
I don't want to get rich off of it, but I certainly don't want someone to make more than.
Yeah, the monthly fee and the kind of the revenue beyond that is 40% of their revenue, their gross profit beyond that. So that's what equals to about $300,000 over the 10-year
Okay.
So the 40% is what we'd be making each month.
And are there other districts in South Carolina that you know where they have placed one that you could
I can reach out. and
maybe
ask.
reach out
Yeah,
and
I'll definitely check.
get
Yeah, that's a
some more
great idea.
information? So yeah, if we could,
Yeah, just
Get
tell,
some
I'm
more
not
details
not
on
opposed
that
to the
and
idea.
then-
Right, yeah.
We'll
yeah.
just, a little more information and meet them, that'd be great.
Okay, all right. That's all that I have.
thank you, Dr. Finley. Mr. Lawless, if you'll present us with our monthly financial report. Oh, and the auditor's report, and the minority business enterprise report, sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You should have received a copy of the financial report for December of 2024. Our balance with the treasurer's office at the end of December was $7,724,995. Our fiscal year-to-date general fund revenues for the first 6 months were $28,269,626, with general fund expenditures in that same period of $26,023,508, which is a difference of $2,246,118. And our tax collections for the month of December were $5,691,058. Does anyone have any questions regarding the monthly financial report before we move forward? Okay. We had on our agenda tonight for a presentation of the audit report for the 23-24 fiscal year. Unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict, Matt Phillips, our auditor, is not able to be with us tonight. We're going to schedule him to come in February. If you recall, we had the same issue last year. A lot of entities that receive audits are getting their reports at the same time. But I will go ahead and tell you that we did have the audit. It was completed. Our report was submitted to the South Carolina Department of Education. We did receive an unqualified opinion, which is the highest level of opinion an auditor can issue an entity. It means that they think that they believe that our financial statements materially reflect our financial position and our activities for the 23-24 fiscal year. The other item I had on the agenda for tonight is to go over our minority business enterprise report. You'll probably remember, you should remember, back in August of 24, you approved our district's minority business enterprise utilization plan. That plan requires that the administration present back to the board twice a year on our progress toward our goal to include small or minority or women-owned businesses in our procurement process. You should have received a copy of our progress report in your packet. There are currently 724 registered vendors in the state's small business and minority contracting and certification, or what they call the SMBCC database. A vendor must register with the state before they are recognized as an SMBCC vendor. For various reasons, there are plenty of small and minority-owned businesses that do not choose to register with the state. This report covers specifically those that are registered with the state. The vendors that are registered span a wide variety of industries, and as part of our MBE plan, anytime our district is doing a solicitation, we reach out to any applicable vendors that are on the registered list to make sure that they are aware that we're doing a solicitation and they have the opportunity to provide a proposal or quote. All of our written solicitations require or request that the vendors specify whether they are registered. Our plan covers our what they call controllable expenditures. That consists of our purchases made through our general fund, our federal funds, and any of our capital funds. This year through December, we have added 3 new minority vendors to our previous vendor file, our existing vendor file. And we've invited participation on 9 separate occasions and received responses on 7 of those. And those 7 all resulted in the business being awarded to the minority vendor. Overall, of our total controllable expenditures, 6% were awarded to MBE vendors, and that's in excess of our initial goal that we established at 5%. Our district is committed to ensuring that all qualified vendors have the opportunity to compete for our business. All of our procurements are made in accordance with our procurement policy and procedures, and so there's no guarantee of any specific award to any particular vendor. But what we do is guarantee that everyone has the fair opportunity to compete for that business. And as you can see, given the right opportunity, many of the small and minority-owned businesses can be competitive with the much larger competitors. Does anyone have any questions regarding the minority business utilization plan or our progress to date? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lawless. Now we're on to public participation. Ms. McNor, I just want to confirm we had no one sign up for public participation. Thank you. And now we do have an executive session on our agenda to discuss or to receive information about certified employee contracts and to receive legal counsel. If I could have a motion.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll now move into executive session.